scared, Dad, I said, as the storm escalated and bellowed around us. There's nothing to be scared of, kiddo, he replied, his words like a magic salve, abating my fears. I was 7 years old and the Yankees had just won. It was a hot summer night, and we exited the stadium surrounded by the camaraderie of thousands of victorious New Yorkers. We piled in the car to go home, me sandwiched in between my brother and sister in the back. I leaned over the front seat between Mom and Dad and looked out the windshield, exhilarated by the throngs of people on the streets at 10 o'clock at night. Horns beeped, Latin music pulsed out car windows, people yelled to one another. I was convinced I could sit right there and watch it all go on forever. But I was asleep in the back seat before we even got out of the Bronx. Somewhere on the Long Island Expressway, I was awakened by the sound of rain. By the time we reached our driveway back in Northport, it was pouring. Dad jumped out to open the garage door, holding his coat over his head to block the rain. He jumped back in the driver's seat, nearly drenched, and pulled the car inside. 20 minutes later, I was lying in bed staring at the ceiling, petrified of the mounting storm. The summer air was balmy and warm, but it felt like the whole world had just gotten cold. The thunder and lightning came in angry bolts, doors slammed shut, and it scared the life out of me. I leapt out of bed and ran down the hall and down the stairs. Louis Armstrong was crooning "When You're Smiling" quietly on the stereo as Dad sat outside on the screened-in porch, on one of the white PVC patio chairs with plastic cushions that left crisscrossed marks on your skin when you sat on them. He had a tumbler in his hand, half filled with what looked like ice water but could have been a gin and tonic. He was reading a book, maybe Tom Clancy, but probably Robert Ludlum, utterly unperturbed by the storm swirling around him. Suddenly, I felt extra special to be up so late while my older siblings were already in bed asleep. I was dressed in my favorite summer sleeping uniform, blue terry cloth shorts and an oversized white cotton V-neck undershirt of my father's, in tatters from hundreds of washes and soft as anything I'd ever felt. I gripped the shag rug beneath my feet between my toes. From my perch at the edge of the living room, barely peeking my head out past the sliding glass door, I whispered, "Daddy?" He looked up from his book. "Hey, kiddo, what are you doing up?" "The storm. I can't sleep." "Come here. Sit down." He motioned for me to come out. Although I was terrified at the prospect of going any closer to the tempest, his calm amidst the raging rain made me venture out onto the porch in my bare feet. I walked over to him tentatively. I wanted to sit on his lap, but I didn't know if I should. So I sat in the chair next to him, the cool, ribbed plastic of the cushion sticking to the backs of my legs. "I'm scared, Daddy," I said. He looked out at the mounting weather beyond the screens, and then he reached over and patted my knee. "There's nothing to be scared of, kiddo," he said. "It's just rain, and a lot of noise and nature." We sat there together and listened to the thunder launch out of the darkness unprovoked. We watched the lightning ignite the sky, and his steady presence, his indifferent fearlessness, made me feel safe. I began to focus on the sound of the water pelting the roof, and the sound became like a rhythmic song. I felt the warmth of the summer rain and could smell the sweetness of it. I waited for the rumble of thunder to come again, and it came like a kettle drum, and I waited with anticipation for the flash of lightning to return and illuminate us and our whole backyard like a grand stage. With a crackle and an explosion of light, the storm reached its crescendo and then slowly began to subside. And as the rain eventually lessened to a light drizzle, and the thunder and lightning retreated back to their corners somewhere far away in heaven, my fears turned to wonder and love.